Hi, you're listening to Scribble Talk, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundram, and with my co-host,
Ashley Case.
We will be sitting down with our industry veterans to share their stories, discuss their career, and learn how to make an impact in the industry.
Today's guest is Robin Power. Robin has over 10 years of experience in marketing for private and public sector organizations. Throughout her career, she has worked on numerous high-profile and high-revenue projects and proposals for disciplines including architecture, landscape architecture, engineering, transportation, planning, engagement, and interior design. Robin is a highly creative, award-winning marketing professional with knowledge of brand development, business development, and marketing strategies. A dynamic leader, Robin strives to inspire others while providing a solution-oriented perspective in high-pressure situations. Robin is also an active member of the Association of Proposal Management Professionals, APMP, sitting on the executive committee as the secretary for the Maple Leaf chapter. Welcome, Robin, to Scribble Talk. So great to have you with us.
Oh, thank you both for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so Robin, you know, if you've listened to our podcast that we like to start in the beginning. So we're curious, where were you born? Where did you grow up? And where did you go to school?
Okay. So I was actually born in Freshwater, Newfoundland. It's a really, really tiny place over on the East Coast. I grew up there for about half my life, and then I moved to Fort McMurray, Alberta, which is very cold, northern climate. And I ended up going to school. I did my degree at Grant MacEwan University here in Edmonton, and that's where I am today.
Oh, wow. So, what did you study for your degree?
I actually did my Bachelor of Arts in English with a minor in classics.
Oh, wow. So was your first job kind of related to those fields?
Funnily enough, it wasn't. I've had many jobs over the years. I worked part-time at the university while I was in school, and then my first job out of university was with a group called Hatchmont McDonald, and they brought me in as their administrative assistant and then as a technical editor on our Valley Line LRT. So that was my first taste of the industry.
Oh, wow. So tell us a little bit about your career timeline from that point.
Yeah, so after I was brought in to work on the Valley Line LRT, I switched companies. I went to Hemisphere Engineering and I did proposals for them. And then shortly after that, I ended up with Phoenix Industrial. They are an oil and gas construction company, just doing some marketing for them. And then I went to IBI Group, which is another architecture and engineering firm. And now I'm at Stantec, and I've been here for 4 years now.
Oh, wow. So over those years working on different proposals for different organizations, I'm sure there are some that stand out in your mind. Can you share one or two experiences?
Yeah, for sure. So like I mentioned, my first taste of the industry was on the Valley Line LRT, and that of course, was a very memorable project. I spent months and months at the project office working with them on the technical guidelines, just making sure that everything was edited and formatted properly before it went out the door. But my most memorable proposal would probably be, it was a construction proposal that we were doing for a seniors facility. And it was about 3 months of my life that was just day in and day out this proposal. It was a very intensive effort. But what was really cool about it was actually the final product. So what we did was we had to print all of our drawing packages because we were shortlisted and it took quite a lot of effort. So we had to print all of our drawing packages and our proposed approach and our proposal and all of that fun stuff. And what we had done to package it all together was our construction partner built a massive wooden box with wheels on it, and they carved the design, all of the elements of the design into the box. So it was a really impressive overall submission that took quite a while.
Oh, wow. I love hearing about, some of the more commercial submissions that have these creative elements in terms of the delivery, and that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite parts of it, for sure.
Very, very cool. Oh my gosh. Did you get like a picture of the submission? Were you able to do that?
I did, yeah. I have a couple of pictures on my phone that I just kind of carry with me as a reminder that, sometimes you can step out of the box and be a little bit more creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I bet those are treasures.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you stumble upon APMP?
I had heard about APMP before I joined, a couple of years before, but it wasn't until I got to Stantec that, they were really supportive and they, gave me the time to join the committee. I joined my first year of membership with APMP. I joined the Maple Leaf chapter as the professional development advisor, and I worked with our current chair, Marianne Heckbert, to work on webinars and connect mentees to mentors and all of that fun stuff.
Oh, wow. That's such an important contribution for our industry and for our younger professionals. Can you tell us a little bit more about, some of those efforts and some of the successes?
For sure. So, it is a very important job, making sure that people are connected to great resources in our industry. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to make those connections, but, it's important to have that contact that you can reach out to and get you connected with somebody that can help answer your questions or prepare you to sit your exam if you're going after your certification levels, that sort of thing. So that was really great. And working on the webinars, that was really rewarding as well. I'm actually a mentor myself now that I've been here for a couple of years, and I've built some great relationships along the way, which is fantastic.
Oh, that's so amazing. And those programs are so important for our chapters. Any, immediate plans or initiatives going on with the Maple Leaf chapter that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Sure. So this year we are focusing on Canadian content first and foremost. So our plan is to use LinkedIn quite a lot more. We're going to have a lot of fun with that this year. We're going to do some snippet videos and some more webinars. We're going to post some job postings there and just really try and engage more with the chapter via LinkedIn, which is great. And hopefully less bombarding people's inboxes with emails, which is always a good thing, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a great method. And I think people are going to be very excited about those upcoming initiatives.
I hope so. I think I'm excited about it. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I know the videos are going to be a big hit. I think that's something that everyone's trying to get more into, particularly to appeal to some of the younger generations.
Absolutely.
So have you participated in any of the APNP events, some of the in-person, while we were able to have those?
Well, for a while there, I was the only person that I knew of in APNP in Edmonton, so it was a little tougher to do in-person events here. Now I actually know quite a few more, which is great. So we can talk about tackling that in the future. I did go to the conference in Orlando in 2019. Which was a really great experience. And I got to meet some more people there. And then I'll be at the conference in Dallas most likely this year.
Oh, very exciting. So was the conference in Orlando your first APNP bid and proposal con?
It was a great opportunity, a great experience. I got to meet so many different people in the industry and I learned so much from all the sessions. So it was really rewarding.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's quite fun to hear about everybody's first experience with, bid and proposal con and in person meeting all these people that do the same things as we do and, have those shared experiences, even if maybe they're in different geographies. So very great. All right. So before we pivot over to our surprise random rapid fire questions round or our Nutters round, named after Howard Nutt, can you tell us 3 things that not many people know about you?
Oh, that's a really good question. I suppose the first thing would be that I'm an avid reader. I usually set a goal for myself every year. Whether I meet that goal remains to be seen, but this year's goal is 200 books. So I am about 40 in right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I like to read anything and everything. So that's where most of my free time goes when I'm not working on proposals. Another thing, I guess, for my own professional development, I like to do one thing that intimidates or scares me every year. So last year, I started learning a language. The year before that, I finished my degree. So I had taken a couple of years off just while I was working. I wanted to save up some money before I went back and finished my degree. So I finally managed to do that in the summer of 2020. And this year I'm working on public speaking. So I'm looking for opportunities to do that. Yeah, and then the third thing, I have a fantastic dog. I got him during COVID. His name is Bear, and he is a Norwegian elkhound. So
oh my gosh.
he loves the snow, which is great for our climate, for sure.
Oh my goodness. Well, lots of stuff there for Bhaskar to dig into during our next round. I know he's going to love to dig into all of these things that you're doing, the reading, the things that scare you every year. I'm sure he's curious what language that you have started to learn, and then learning a little bit more about your dog who sounds adorable.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you, Ashley, for that. And Robin, 40 books. Any books that you would like to share? Top 3?
One of my favorites is Jurassic Park. I know that's a little strange, but I've always been into paleontology and archaeology, and Jurassic Park is a movie that I love, so I really enjoyed the book as well. And then one of my favorites is also Sarah's Key by Tatiana de Rosny. If you haven't read it, it is like a World War II fiction, but it's really good and it's got a great twist.
Wow, that's interesting. And Yeah, archaeology and paleontology is my passion as well. So this Sunday, I'm giving a talk on Egyptian hieroglyphics and Japanese classical language, the similarities between both.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. I love that.
Yeah, I think more and more I'm trying to decode what could be the first language, and there is a group of international um, kind of professors and few kind of others who have interest on languages and archaeology kind of a thing. They have come along, and we have this group, and we kind of talk about different languages and the similarities, and also based on archaeology rather than actual the poems and other things. That's good. Interest that one. Jurassic Park, definitely. I haven't had the patience to read it, but I watched it. So that thing about intimidating and scaring, why do you do that every year? Robin, what's the purpose behind it?
I think that it started from a desire to just challenge myself, and over time it just grew as a way to be better professionally, to really expand myself outside of my comfort zone and tackle things that I wouldn't normally take on. So yeah, that's where it started.
Got it, got it, got it. And again, talk us about your dog. Why the name Bear?
Mostly because when I picked him up when he was a baby, he looked like a little bear cub, actually, quite similar. So that's where he got his name from.
Got it, got it. That's nice. I mean, like, it's totally great. And that because normally, when reading about books, I used to read like 20, 30 books a year. But what I found much more challenging was obviously I don't have bookshelves to keep all the books. That's
Yeah.
one. The second one is, even if I try to implement one thing from a book, I think that then brought up with its own challenge, and then I need to then go and fix that one, this one. How do you? And I know you have a varied interest of reading. Do you also try to apply anything from the lessons that you learned from the books, Robin, or the choice of books is much more kind of fiction and history or something like that?
It's mostly fiction. So I too have a lack of space on my bookshelf, but I have accounts online where they send me books in exchange for reviews. So I just read on my laptop or my phone so that the space doesn't become an issue, especially when I'm reading so many different books a year. And then I also like to write in my free time. So that's why I read so many different things, is just to apply them to my own writing.
Got it, got it, got it. I think recently I'm into audiobooks. So I read like 12 books a month, something like that, but it's mostly audio. That just keeps me going. There's always something. And also, when it comes to public speaking challenge, my team will drop you a note, Robin. We will host you as a guest to speak in one of our weekly webinars. So you can join in and break your barrier of public speaking. You will be perfectly fine. We will fix it.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant. So let's officially enter the Howard Nuts Honored Nutters round. Oh, painting. You do painting when you're free as well? What type of painting?
I do paint in my free time. Yeah, mostly acrylics. I have been delving into oils a little bit, and mostly landscapes.
Got it. And what do you do with those paintings?
I just hang them around my house. Honestly, I'm starting out, so they're not great. I certainly wouldn't want to show them to many people, but it's a great way to relax and unwind after a stressful day.
Totally. What a talent, that one. Reading and also playing with dogs and also painting. You should be one of the most person, I would show. But hopefully I'll be there at Dallas. It would should take pictures of all your painting and the dog. And that when I meet you over there. So let's begin the rapid random question round or nutters round. So there's no right or wrong answer. Whatever comes in your mind, let it be the answer. So, What's the first book that made you cry?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. Probably Night by Ellie Weisel.
Hmm. You have a good memory though, because the moment I read any book, if you ask me 6 months down the line, I can't remember neither the title nor the author. This is good. Listeners, there's something you could learn. Now, these days, I blame it on my COVID. I had COVID 3 times now. And
Oh
that,
wow.
yeah, and I blame it on the short-term memory loss. Sometimes I even forget my own team member's name. I'm like, you, you. So yeah, I'll leave you there. So, what's your favorite love story? Movie or a book?
My favorite story. Gosh, I think maybe the Jurassic Park movies are my favorite just because it would be really cool to actually see live dinosaurs one day. I'm sure that won't happen during our lifetime, but it's cool to think about.
Definitely. And what's your favorite love story?
My favorite love story.
Uh-huh.
Um, Gosh, I don't really read that much by way of romance. Perhaps Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare.
Oh my God, that's a very dense book, but I like to read that one.
Not as much a love story, more a comedy, but it's got some love pieces in there, right? Some romance. So
I think I choose books for fun. I don't want to have anything dense in my life, because
that's fair.
life itself is has enough on it. Why not? So that's good. So if you were to be on a reality TV show, which one would you be on and why?
That's a great question. I feel like maybe keeping up with the Kardashians just because all of their storylines are so crazy. It would be interesting to see what their life is like for a day.
Got it. Do you have a favorite Kardashian sister? Or
Uh, Probably Chloe.
I was expecting that.
Yeah.
Anything more, I'm sure listeners will be even more curious. Ooh, Robin. So, do you cook, Robin? What's your favorite food?
I don't cook as often as I should. My favorite food is probably something Italian, so pizza or spaghetti.
Pizza, spaghetti, easy ones. Pizza. Do you make fresh pizza at home? Or
I do, yeah. We have an Italian bakery that's not too far from my house, so I always go and get fresh ingredients from them and then make the sauce and the dough and whatnot at home.
wow, so, my God. I mark your place again, and I'm going to visit you soon.
Yes, absolutely. Come anytime.
Just for a pizza. Yes. So, any biggest kitchen fail comes to your mind?
There are a lot that come to mind. I am so bad for getting distracted and then things just kind of burn. So I've definitely had to throw out a stir fry or two because I wasn't paying attention.
Got it. Maybe you were busy reading, multitasking.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Do you do in addition to taking the dog out for a walk? What's your favorite fitness workout?
I like kickboxing, actually. I don't do it as much, especially with the gyms having been closed for COVID. But a couple of years ago, I bought my own, they're called bobs, and it looks like a guy on a big stand, and you can just use him to work out and box or kickbox with. So I'm tentatively looking into getting another one. And if not kickboxing, then rowing. And I have a rowing machine downstairs that I use every so often.
Got it. And what type of songs do you listen to while you're rowing or kicking hard?
Mostly upbeat stuff, but sometimes I like to go a little bit more hardcore rock or punk or whatever. So, like System of a Down sometimes makes it into my playlist. Imagine Dragons, that sort of thing.
Got it. Do you have a separate playlist for working out, or is it something that you go randomly, you choose Spotify or Apple iTunes?
Funnily enough, it is the same playlist I use when I'm working. So anything that just kind of keeps me wide-eyed and awake and pumped up.
That's good. That's good. Do you think people should eat the fish that they catch? or they just take the fish. That's good. I've caught a fish, and then put it back in the river or ocean.
Well, several of my uncles are fishermen, so they would probably say you should eat the fish that you catch. I guess it depends on where you're fishing, if you're fishing for pleasure or for food.
Nice. That's a good question. Your uncles will be proud of you, totally. Uh,
Yeah.
At the beach, would you rather play in the sand or play in the water?
Oh, in the water, hands down.
Got it. When was the last time you've been to a beach, or is there any beach near to where you live?
No, we are landlocked, so no water here. Where I'm from, we're right next to the ocean down in Newfoundland, but it's a bit too cold to play in that beach. And then the last time I was at a beach was I went to Mexico, I think it was last year or the year before, right before the COVID restrictions were implemented again.
Nice. That's good. That's good. If you could make a rule for a day and everyone had to follow it, what would the rule be?
Oh, that's a great question. I guess it would be that everybody has to be polite to one another, no matter how stressed they are.
That's a good one, totally. I'm sure you have some stress busting tips. Anything you would like to share?
For me, I tend to get more calm the more stressed out people around me get. It's just something that's inherent in my personality. But when I personally am stressed, I like to listen to music or take a walk around the block just to kind of clear my head before I get back into things. And then if it's stress because I'm overwhelmed or have too much on my plate, I make lists of priorities.
Wow, those are definitely good tips. Considering there is power in your surname, what superpower would you like to have, Robin?
Superpowers. Maybe teleportation. It would be really great to just teleport myself to a beach or to Italy for some gelato.
That's a good one, actually. You know, Ashley and I, we are foodies. 99% of the time we talk about food. So
That's fair.
now, now you can join the party as well. So that's good. So if you are teleported into history, where would you like to go and who would you like to meet?
I would love to meet some of the amazing painters and sculptors. You know, Monet or Raphael or something like that. Just really dive through time that way and just meet creative types.
Are they your favorite painters?
Monet is one of my favorites. Yeah, for sure.
Got it. Have you seen Monet's paintings in live?
They had, I think it was an exhibit not too long ago here, but I wasn't able to get out to see them. And then I've been to the Louvre in Paris. So I've seen the Mona Lisa up close, which is a lot smaller than I thought it would be in real life. But yeah.
Totally. That's good. Do you think Mona Lisa is smiling?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. What comes first, chicken or egg?
The chicken.
Right. Why?
I guess, I don't know, in terms of evolution, because the chicken would have to be there first. Otherwise, how would you get the egg in and of itself?
I think that's a fair comment. I think that's what I think as well. So who?
Okay, great.
I'm nobody, Robin. So my approval doesn't mean anything, but maybe my listeners will be laughing at the stage, but doesn't matter. It's okay. I approve this logic.
Well, we're in the same company then, right? That's a positive.
Exactly. So who haven't you seen or talked to in a long time and you hope that they're doing okay?
I have made a lot of friends on my travels. I used to travel obviously a lot more than I do now. And so I hope that all the people I've met along the way are doing well, even though we don't get to speak all of that often.
Got it, got it. What's the furthest you have traveled so far?
Probably Thailand.
Thailand. Ooh. When was this? And would you like to share some of the memories?
That was, gosh, 6 or 7 years ago, I believe. I did a 2-week trip to Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia, and I met some amazing people on the way. And I try to take one big trip a year, so we will see what's in store for this year.
Good. What's your tip for speaking concisely? I mean, like any question we ask you, the answer finishes within like 10 seconds, Robin. So now I'm wondering, how am I going to take it up to 45 minutes? So what's the tip for concise speaking? Because for me, as they say, right, it's much easier to write in pages, but it's very hard to write in a line. But you seems to be very comfortable in speaking in few words. Then how did you get that Robin power?
I think that it can be a positive, but it can also be my downfall because I have always been a concise person in both speaking and writing. So when I needed to do papers in university and they had to be 10 pages long, it was very difficult for me. So I think it's just something I do naturally. Try not to take up too much time when I'm talking. But I think mostly it's just about getting my point across in a way that makes sense and has a positive impact without drawing things out for too long.
Got it. Is there any dream that comes into your mind multiple times that you haven't told anybody?
Oh, like a professional dream, like what I would do if I were not in proposals or something
No,
else.
anything, you know. But I get a dream all the time that I fly in the sky.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay.
I don't know why every other night I'm actually above a city and I'm flying, literally flying. I don't know why. But is there any dream that comes to your mind or that you get?
I always have very strange dreams. I don't know if it's a product of what I eat before I go to bed, but I always have dreams that aren't necessarily of me. They're always like other people or stories or things like that. And then if I am in my dream, I'm usually writing something. So take that however you want.
No, that's interesting. I mean, like, as they say, you know, whatever you read or watch before you sleep tend to kind of have an influence in your dream that night. So that's why it's important
Mm-hmm.
to put whatever thoughts in, positive thoughts before you sleep, before you do. But these days, with the phones in your hand, you end up watching anything and everything, and just miss out the whole thing. That's good. So, who are the people who have been in most influential in your life and career?
Most influential. I've had some bosses who have been very influential in my career, and some very amazing coworkers that I've worked with. I currently work at the same company as my mom, though, so she and I get to chat every day, and she's been very influential. I go to her for a lot of questions or advice, and yeah, she's just always there, which is fantastic.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Who is the kindest person you know?
Mm, that is a toss-up. I feel like I've been lucky. I know a lot of very kind people. My mom is one of those people. She is just over the top kind. and then some of the people that I work with, like my friend Tracy, is very kind, as is most of our team. And then my best friend Alyssa is incredible. She is always going out of her way to help me, and so is my cousin Colleen, who used to live with me. We were roommates for quite a long time, but now she has her own place, and I still get to see her so often, but she's great, and she always comes over and takes Bear for walks and things like that when I'm busy, which I really appreciate.
Totally. So if I ask for a reference from your friend or from your cousin, what do you think they will tell about you?
I would say that they would probably tell you that I am very ambitious and determined to achieve my goals, and that I'm a creative type for sure, which I'm sure you probably figured out with all of the reading and painting and writing references.
Totally. So if you're meeting in 3 years' time, what do you think should have happened that you consider this 3 year was a success to me?
I would like to have published a novel by the end of that time, and I would like to have grown into my role, and whether that's just have been taking on more responsibility or more direct reports or a different title or what have you. I'm always looking for growth opportunities.
Got it. So we are going to make you accountable for what you just said.
Yeah, yeah. In 3 years, you can ask me about that, and I will confirm that I've done all of those things.
Exactly. And what type of novel will that be? Do you have a title in mind or a subject storyline?
I have a couple of different ones that I'm working on. One is a thriller, and the other one is an action adventure type, and then the third is more of a sci-fi. So,
nice. All sounds
yeah.
My God. Sounds exciting. So we'll keep us posted. So what have you observed lately in these COVID times that reminded you that people are kind?
I think that, people have made much more of an effort now that we're all, I mean, at my company anyway, we're all working from home. And so I've been getting a lot more phone calls rather than emails, which I can appreciate. People are just looking for human contact, which is nice. And then everybody's been going out of their way to check in on people, making sure that you're okay if you're in your house by yourself for days at a time. Because I personally live alone. It's just me and my dog. So I've had a lot of people just reaching out and checking in, which is fantastic. And I've been doing the same thing with my team, making sure that things are going well for them. And yeah, COVID has in some ways brought us all together.
Totally. And you have brought a dog, Bear. And what question would you ask Bear?
I would ask Bear probably what his favorite thing to do is. He spends a lot of time playing with his toys and going for walks, and he goes to doggy daycare to play with his friends. So I'd just be curious to know what his favorite thing is and who his favorite person is. I have a feeling it's my mom, but yeah, be nice to confirm that.
Exactly. I'm sure, Bear, if you're listening, Robin is listening.
Yeah.
You never know. So what's the one common myth about our profession that you would like to debunk?
One common myth. Oh gosh, that's a hard question. I think one thing that people don't necessarily realize is that we aren't just here to format documents. We provide a service as strategic advisors. We hold a lot of local knowledge of internal practices and clients, and we're here to help you win work and not just act to pull your final PDF together at the end.
That's nice. And why do you think we have that perception, Robin? I mean, like every episode we hear the same thing. Is it because we don't project ourselves as thinkers, strategic thinkers? We end up doing just doers. And why this is it? Because we normally have the same response by everybody. Why do you think this happens?
Um, I think it could be a number of different things. I mean, for me personally, I take it as my role to educate new practitioners or project managers when they come into the organization. Like, this is our services that we provide to you, and these are all of the ways that we can help you. And so, normally, after they've been around us for a little while, they start to see, okay, like these people are not just here to compile PDFs for me. And I'm not sure if it's, a product of us just not being, I don't know. I mean, it could be a number of different things. I hope though that once people come into the organization, they understand the service we provide and the positive aspects we bring, rather than just, like I said, compiling PDFs or being formatting people. So.
Totally. I mean, like, in my lifetime, that's my absolute dream. What nobody should say this anymore. It's
Yep.
like we should break this barrier, as I always say, 2016 I presented the sell you first. I think we all are very good in writing proposals, selling our solutions, but we should also find ways to sell ourselves within the organization and also outside the organization. And as you
Mhm.
said, you are consciously making the decision of doing what scares you, what's the courageous thing you want to do, because you're breaking your barriers year on year. That builds your confidence. And I suggest every single proposal professional to do the same, because as you say, the perception of you is a reflection on them. But
Mhm.
sometimes it's the way we behave also, because 2004 I was a pricing analyst, so anybody who saw me during that still perceives me as a numbers guy because
Mhm.
that's how they saw me. 2010, when I was head of bids, people who saw me was, okay, this guy was a bid leader. Now I'm a strategic director, entrepreneur, etc. People who saw me now perceives me as an entrepreneur or a strategist. So that will always be there. And as that 3 years down, the question is something I would like everybody to work on, so that you continue to break your own perceptions and just move on. But that's brilliant. I think you're consciously doing that, Robin, and I'm not worried about you at all. You will definitely.
Well, what I would like to see one day is, if we could go into those engineering schools and chat with them about the services we provide while they're still in school, because like I said, I've been in the architecture, engineering, construction industry for my whole career. And so it would be great to kind of catch them while they're still in school, so we can teach them then, your marketing specialist is your greatest partner when you're submitting for work, because our main goal aligns with yours. We want to help you win the great, exciting projects that you want to work on.
Totally. I think that's brilliantly said. I think that's what I call it, like, full stack bidder, which is like, if you've written a proposal, go and be curious to understand what are the terms and conditions within that proposal that makes it as a contract. Go and understand how it's been mobilized, where it comes to life, like, people, the vans, the buildings, the technology, etc. Then go ahead and see 1 year down the line, find time to go and see how it's been operated. It
Mm-hmm.
excites you a lot more. So what you have written in a piece of paper to now there is something that you have given life to. For me, the way I see that is every bid I'm giving birth to a life. you know, and I
Yeah.
know, because I'm not a female, so obviously, my wife will be laughing, which is like, do you know how to have children? But that's a different pain. But no, that's the kind of thing that's going to help us to be much more valuable. When you understand how a paper gets converted into a contract with life and technology around it, then that gives you much more stronger, what we call the value, that you could say, hey, you know what? That building that you see, as you rightly said, I wrote that bid,
Mm-hmm.
and every
Yep.
single thing, and that's the thing that gives you, and 100%. And then you could stand up to any engineering graduate to just explain, what, if you walk across, because I always tell people the story when they say, what do you do? And I would say, you know what, you get down in London in Heathrow Airport. By the time you get on, the aircraft is maintained, is being tendered out. You take your baggage, it's being tendered out. Immigration, it's tendered out. The system behind immigration, it's tendered. You take a train from the airport, it's tendered out. You get down, the first thing you see is a traffic light, it's tendered out. You go to a hotel, the cleaning and catering is tendered out. Then you get to open your tap, the water you drink is tendered out. You know, behind the scenes, we give life to every single thing. But for some reason, you know, we only talk about the core element of proposals where we need to relate it much more into common way of telling people that's the thing, that's architecture behind it. Do you know the history, and other things. That's the fascinating part for me. You should write a book about this, Robin.
Maybe one day. Well, and I think it's important for the organizations that we work for to really put emphasis on how important marketing is as well. I mean, that's one of the great things that I love about Stantec is that they put a lot of emphasis on, you know, working with marketing as a partnership and bidding on work together, engaging us early and often for market research and pre-positioning efforts. So it's really important for the organization to stand behind their marketing specialists as well.
Totally, well said there. I think that's it. So what's next for you, Robin? What's something that you're looking forward to in your immediate future?
I've got a couple of interesting pursuits underway that I think will be exciting for this year. Personally, though, I'm looking forward to my vacation I've got planned for this summer. I'm going to go back home to Newfoundland for a couple of weeks. And then, yeah, I've got some just writing that I am excited to get done and hopefully work toward that novel.
Totally. Don't worry, we are listening and we will ensure that you write that novel. You cannot go away. So that's good. What advice would you give any bid and proposal professional who would like to have a similar career or who would like to choose this as a career?
I think one of the best pieces of advice that was told to me early in my career is to remember that you are human. So mistakes happen, and you know, especially at the 11th hour when we're pulled into things, things can go awry. But you take those lessons learned and you pull them forward with you, and you forgive yourself if you do make a mistake, and you learn from it and move on.
Nice advice, Robin. So, Robin, is there any part of your life or career, or is there anything else you would like to share in the last minute of the podcast?
I think that, you know, I have been very fortunate in my career so far. I've worked for some amazing people and great companies. So mainly I'm just, like I said, looking for growth opportunities within my role and hoping to be part of the next great proposal that comes out.
Nice. No, thank you so much, Robin, for joining us today. It's been a totally absolute privilege. You know, somehow I'm glad that I managed to take a 45-minute episode with you. This could have been done in 20 minutes if I but we have done. And no, it's an absolute privilege. Continue to inspire us. Continue to read and share. I would love to host you in a webinar so that what you learn, you could start to share to others. Maybe that could be a topic. What did I learn from 40 books? How can it be applied or something? But stay healthy, stay happy. Wish you all the success and good health. And I'll speak to you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you both for having me. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit batchyscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Bhaskar Sundram,
signing off.